Hello, hello! Are you a solopreneur spending countless minutes clicking and dragging on your Mac? What if you could reclaim that lost time and amplify your productivity with just a few built-in features of macOS? Let's jump right into it. So as a solopreneur, every second counts, yet many are unaware of how much time they lose by simply clicking and moving their mouse around. It might seem like a few seconds, but over days, weeks, and months, it accumulates. Now, if you're curious, I recommend installing the application Mouse Miles, developed by Pointworks software. This app will record every click or tap that you do, as well as the total distance traveled by your cursor and the number of keystrokes. Now, at the time of recording, this application has recorded roughly 36,000 clicks and a travel distance of about 6.7 kilometers or about 4.2 miles, all of that during a period of 5 months. Assuming that a click takes about 1 second and that my mouse cursor travels at around 10 centimeters per second or 4 inches per second, all this activity has taken me almost 29 hours. That's a little bit less than 6 hours every month just clicking and moving my mouse around. Now, with the techniques that I'm about to introduce, you won't necessarily reduce the number of clicks, but you will dramatically speed up how you operate your Mac, allowing you to do more in less time. Now, the main reasons that we need to click and move the cursor around are to first access and interact with files and folders, or access, interact with applications and their windows. Now, in episode 58, I introduced two built-in solutions, folder pinning and keyboard shortcuts, and today I will expand on them, but also talk about three more built-in features of macOS: app shortcuts, mission control, and hot corners. Now, the first built-in feature is called folder pinning, which means creating a shortcut to commonly used folders directly in the Finder sidebar. When you open Finder, you will see on the left the sidebar, and at the top of the sidebar, you will see the favorites section. Now, it may be collapsed, so you will need to click on the chevron first to expand the favorite section. To pin a folder, you just drag and drop a folder of your choice between two existing shortcuts. And that will create then your own shortcut to the folder that you want. And so accessing this folder will be as easy as just clicking in the sidebar on the left. It's very useful because this favorite section is visible in any open and save dialog box. The built-in feature number 2, keyboard shortcuts. If you've never taken the time to learn keyboard shortcuts, I can only encourage you to do so. You can grab a cheat sheet in PDF format with 40 keyboard shortcuts at macpreneur.com/KS. And the best is there is no sign up required. You visit the link, you have access to the PDF, and you can download it immediately. I won't revisit the keyboard shortcuts introduced in episode 58, but instead I will give you 4 more. Now, 2 in macOS, if you want to quickly print something from Notes, from Safari, from Pages, Word, Excel, it is Command P for print. And if you want to quit an application, it is Command Q. A small side note, if you remember in episode 58, I talked about command tabulation to quickly switch between applications. It's called the app switcher in macOS. Well, when you are in the app switcher, so you press command, then tab, 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 and let's say you highlight Excel, right? Because the command key is still pressed, if you press then Q at the same time, you will then be able to quit the application. So you don't need to activate it and quit it. You just invoke app switcher with command tab, locate the application you want to quit, then Q. So these were the 2 keyboard shortcuts for macOS. Let's go and explore 2 new keyboard shortcuts for Finder. So whenever you want to create a new empty folder, it's easy. It's Shift Command N. And if you want to preview a document or a file without opening it, you just press the space bar, and it's a feature called Quick Look. You have maybe many files in a folder and you don't want to double click to open each of them just to decide which one to open. You will then select the first one in the list, spacebar, and if you're not sure about the one that you want, you just use the arrow keys. If you press the down arrow key, it will go to the next file and it will quick look the next file. Now, there are many more keyboard shortcuts than the 40 that are in my cheat sheet. If you want to discover more keyboard shortcuts, one way is by manually visiting all the menus of the active application and looking at the right of every command. So for instance, I'm preparing this episode now in Keynote. If I click on the slide menu, I can see that creating a new empty slide can be done via Shift Command N. Now, regardless of the application that you use to pay the bills, could be Photoshop, Illustrator, Logic Pro, Word, PowerPoint, or even the Mail app, it doesn't matter. I can only encourage you to see if there is a keyboard shortcut for the actions that you perform the most. Now, there is another way to discover keyboard shortcuts for active applications, and it's a totally free third-party utility called Keyclu, Keyclu. Once installed, all you need to do is press the Command key twice, then hold it. And a floating panel will appear showing you all the keyboard shortcuts for the active application. It's really a great way to quickly discover keyboard shortcuts. Now, it can happen that the action that you do the most has no keyboard shortcut associated to it. Now, fear not, there is actually a built-in solution called App Shortcuts. This is why I love macOS so much, because Apple gave us the ability to define our own keyboard shortcuts, both at the operating system level, meaning regardless from the currently active application, but also for any chosen application specifically. Now, if your Mac is running macOS 13 Ventura or later, you would then open System Settings, then visit Keyboard, then Keyboard Shortcuts, then App Shortcuts. On macOS Monterey or earlier, it is System Preferences, then Keyboard, then you click on the Shortcuts tab, and there you will see in the list App Shortcuts. Here are two examples that I have implemented on my iMac. So for the Notes app, I often use the strike-through formatting. Now, if you open Notes and you go to the Format menu, then you click on Font, and you will see strike-through, and you will notice there are no keyboard shortcuts for that. And so I was able, through App Shortcuts, to define my own keyboard shortcut. And in my case, I defined Shift Command S. Why? Because Command S is already taken, it's save. And to select text easily in macOS, it is Shift Command and then the arrows. So Shift Command right arrow will select the entire sentence. And so because I'm already doing Shift Command right arrow, I just need afterwards to press the S key while keeping the Shift Command pressed. So that's one example. Another example, and that's available for all applications, I've redefined the keyboard shortcut Command P for the print as PDF features. So you might not know that, but whenever you are in a print dialog box, at the bottom there is a little PDF button. You click on the small chevron, and there you will have an option Save as PDF. So basically, on your Mac, you can create PDF documents from any application. The problem, or the thing that I realized, was that Save as PDF has no keyboard shortcut associated to it. And so by redefining a new keyboard shortcut, saying that at the operating system level, Command P is Save as PDF as well, Now, because that save as PDF only appears in the print dialog box, it doesn't conflict with the existing Command P. So the workflow I have now to quickly create a PDF is I do Command P once, and that invokes the print dialog box, and then I do Command P again, and it saves as PDF. A fourth built-in feature that I would like to mention in this episode is called Mission Control. It's the ability to quickly see all the opened application windows at once. Now, if like me, you tend to have a lot of applications open at the same time, your screen will soon get littered with overlapping windows. So finding the one that you're looking for might be a challenge. There is always the Command Tab option, but in some cases, it's not enough. And this is why Mission Control is really a godsend, in my opinion. It's a quick way to have an helicopter view of all the active windows on your Mac. One way to invoke Mission Control is simply to press the F3 key of the keyboard. Another way is through a keyboard shortcut, Control up arrow. It's also possible to invoke Mission Control from the Magic Mouse or the Magic Trackpad. So on the Magic Mouse, you would double tap with 2 fingers. And on the Magic Trackpad, you swipe up with 3 fingers. You might need to visit System Settings or System Preferences, then Mouse or Trackpad to activate those gestures. And finally, the fifth built-in feature that I want to talk about in this episode is called Hot Corners. Now, if you didn't change anything and your Mac is running at least macOS Monterey, if you move the cursor to the bottom right corner of your screen, it will open a quick note window. That's an example of a hot corner, except that it has been defined by Apple. To configure hot corners, if your Mac is running macOS 13 Ventura or later, you open System Settings, then you visit Desktop and Dock, and at the bottom you will see a button called Hot Corners. For macOS 12 Monterey or earlier, you open System Preferences, you visit Desktop and Screensavers, you click on the Screensaver tab, and in the bottom right, you will see a Hot Corners button. There you will then be able to configure the actions that will happen when moving the cursor in any of the 4 corners, including overriding the Quick Note option. So in my case, when I go in the bottom right corner, it doesn't do Quick Note, it does put Display to Sleep. Among the options at your disposal, you have Mission Control, hiding all application windows to reveal the desktop. You can activate Notification Center. You activate Launchpad, which means seeing all the install application on your Mac. So to recap, the goal of this episode was to expand on built-in solutions that can help you minimize the number of unnecessary clicks and reduce the cursor travel distance on your Mac. On top of folder pinning and keyboard shortcuts, I've talked about app shortcuts, Mission Control, and Hot Corners. Now, to keep this episode short and sweet, I'll cover third-party utilities that can help you do the same in the next episode, episode 60. Then, after that, I will continue diving deeper on both built-in and third-party solutions to combat the last 2 Mac productivity killers, which are repetitive typing and file clutter. If you'd like to know how well you are currently coping with the 3 killers of Mac productivity, head on to macpreneur.com/score, SCORE, to discover your Mac productivity score today. And until next time, I'm Damien Schreurs, wishing you a great day.